I'm Nick Schillingford, coming to you from the Urban Cabin Studios, Studio 14, here at Urban Cabin Studios in South Minneapolis with this interview. On Socialist News and Views, we let folks introduce themselves. Do you want to just tell our audience who you are?
My name is Jamie. I'm Nick's brother. We've got various parents.
Exactly, various parents associated with both of us.
And I help him with the free books table that distributes books to the city of Minneapolis.
And that was why I wanted to have this interview. I had previously talked a little bit about starting the free books table with Ann Winkler-Maury on a previous interview, and that got deleted or just never got downloaded from Zoom or something happened. We got disconnected. So I also wanted to just have a chance. I had wanted to talk a little bit more about the books table anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to give the basic overview, which was that, kind of how it came in my mind. The first thing that kind of made me think originally about the free books table was when the guy won his court case that he could distribute Bibles at Gay Pride at Loring Park during the festival, and then he was allowed to distribute Bibles. And I was like, well, now that they've said, you can hand out books, like, why don't we hand out, like, a good book or something like that? And I didn't mean that necessarily as, like, saying the Bible isn't a good book, although, people have different opinions about that. I haven't even read the Bible very much. Most of my Bible comes secondhand.
I've read parts.
See? But yeah, so I was like, well, the Bible's available everywhere. Why don't we give out some books that people, might not be easily to come up with at a hotel or literally any bookshelf in America.
Right.
So that was my first thinking of it. And then the next thing was the Born Again Labor Museum. Adam and Tish Turl at the Born Again Labor Museum were giving away free communist manifestos. Call this number for your free communist manifesto. They had the signs out. It was art.
That's great.
Making a statement. And I thought, well, I should start giving out communist manifestos. Funnily enough, it was right when the cheapest version of the Communist Manifesto, I think from international publishers, went from like $3 to like $6 to buy it new. So I was like, wow, that's twice as much money if I want to buy a bunch of Communist Manifestos. So I was thinking, maybe I should get some other books as well, and get books secondhand. So that was the second. That was the second piece of it, and trying to even think what the. Then I also got medication for my ADHD, and I feel like that kind of like focused in a little bit, kind of like some of the thoughts that were like percolating in the back of my head, and so I, this was right around the time shortly after the Israel started bombarding Gaza with all kinds of terrible weapons provided by the United States, and there was a lot of people coming out onto the streets. A lot of new people in the United States were just getting active for the first time, and they were interested, and they wanted to, get some information, get some education. I guess the third piece was just that I was thinking about removing barriers, for people to access things. So I was thinking, just make the books completely free. Just let people, take the books. Try to like keep the books rotating so there's interest and stuff. But yeah, you were pretty interested in the books table from the beginning. So, what was your what got you excited about it to start with?
So, ironically, almost exactly what you just said. So, October 7th happened, and I found my Instagram turned from a very, mostly happy place to fun art things, to half the celebrities that I followed turned out to be not the people I thought they were. Right. And everything just kind of crumbled from there. And I didn't know the ins and outs of the subject. And I wanted to know more. But then I didn't want my knowledge to be clouded by propaganda from the state, basically. From the news media that we currently have. Incidentally, my first Communist Manifesto came from you and the books table.
See?
So I would have not had that if not for the books table. And that was kind of the thing, is that I wanted more information, and I found that it was really hard to rely on the public sphere of media to get the correct information, or to get information that allowed me to make an informed decision about any of the subjects. Because you don't find a lot of these books, unless you're talking to some socialist people or something off the beaten track, you don't you're not going to be advertised these books at Barnes and Noble or other places. So this was a great place to find any of these books, and to have somebody who could suggest things, titles to you that would be helpful. But mainly it was October 7th. Like I knew before that things were messed up, and that the government didn't have your back. I knew little things, but I didn't know how bad it was, and this helped me to find out, which is really awesome. And also, it's just nice to see people trying to help other people without exacting anything in return. That there wasn't transactional. It was just, I have information, here's your information. And I wanted to be a part of that. That made me want to be a part of helping out with the Free Books Fable, just because we're all going to need to do that. That is what eventually we will have to be doing for each other, whether it be with housing, healthcare, or food, all those things. So it's helpful to get that out there, because everywhere else you go, you have to pay dues or do something else. There's a transactional nature. This is just, you want a book? You can take the book. And it's made me want to give away my books more too. It used to be like, I'm going to hang on to this, and now it's like, yeah, you can have it. Read it. Give it to somebody else. Spread the word. It's great.
Well, that actually reminds me of some of the other, where I kind of started from. And it's funny because you said it wasn't, it isn't transactional. And it's funny because it actually does start from kind of a place that's like a little more transactional, which is that, I'm the host of the podcast, Socialist News and Views. So I thought, okay, well, the last time I had the podcast, kind of wrapped it up in 2013, somewhere around there. And it was a lot easier to get, like, attention online. Like, you could post stuff on Facebook. People could, like, play it on Facebook. And, like, things could actually happen in the world. And then since then, there's so much propaganda on the internet. There's so much, like, noise on the internet. They've ratcheted down everybody's, like, access to any of the tools that make anything on the internet fun.
Right.
And so it's a lot harder. So I thought, well, what if there was some way to connect with people in real life? That was kind of like where it came from. Like, maybe there's a real world out there where you can talk to people. So I thought, well, maybe I can have, like, my card for the podcast, and I can just stick it in the book as, like, a bookmark or something. It's something that they do at Mayday Books. Give people a bookmark to put in the book, just kind of as a way to let people know about Mayday Books. And it actually did work. Like a couple of the first big rallies, it did seem to get a kind of an influx of people listening to the podcast. But to be honest, since then, it doesn't really lead to that many new plays on the podcast. So it's kind of just taken on a life of its own. I still, have the cards available and stuff if people want to listen to the podcast. Because that's another thing, I kind of see that as another portion of that, because, some people can't read for whatever reason. Maybe they just can't focus on it, or they just are never learned to read or whatever, and so then you have an option where they can listen to some similar or associated content and ideas. And then the last piece, was like banning books and stuff like that. The federal government was has since gotten more on board, but obviously at this time it was Florida and other places were banning books. So I was also looking at lists of banned books to get books off of there to have available. I kind of set myself a number of being around, like, averaging out to like $3 a book for the books that I give away for free, which means that we do, scrape together some money and buy some, like, brand new books that are full price. We get some books that are $1, $2, $3, and then we do also get a lot of books that are free, donated, especially people are going out of town. This is another thing that I think more about, is like, it's kind of a service too, because, people are moving to overseas or something. They have all these important books that potentially would be important to the movement, or could at least lend something to the movements, but they're going to probably, donate them, throw them away, I don't know, give them away, ship some of them. I don't know. What are they going to do with them? And so This way it kind of keeps them in circulation amongst the people that are most interested in the ideas. And so if you have a place to kind of store the stuff, so I'm kind of finding new streams. And so, the more that we can get for free, it brings the per book number down. So then it means we can buy more.
Sure.
Whatever. That's based on my system, which is not based on capitalism. It's just based on scrounging together $3 to buy books.
Right.
And then giving them away for free. I've had people take like big stacks, multiple stacks of books at different events. I don't judge anybody. I don't claim. I've seen people check out big stacks of the books at the library bigger than I would, and I've said, okay, well, I guess they read more than I do. We had somebody take our whole setup of books one time.
Yeah.
But that isn't usually what happens. Usually people are
Usually people don't want to take. They're
afraid.
scared to take more than one because they feel like they're abusing the system, and we're sitting there like, please, take as many as you like. And also, I mean, it's kind of an investment in a way too, because I'm sure these people will get their books home and then they don't open them for, it could be a couple of months. I mean,
right, or years.
There's books I've taken from the books table that I've had State and Revolution for like probably since the beginning of the summer, and I finally got around to reading it after a bunch of other things. So there's always a stack to read. So a lot of times they probably don't even see your card in there until way later, which also
exactly
isn't gonna.
No, that's true. Maybe I'll see I mean, and the other thing is like you think about reading a book. You know, you want to have the book right then, you know, to read. So, like, the time between thinking about, oh, man, I'd really like to start reading that, and then, like, getting the book or whatever, a lot of times that mood completely changes.
Yep.
And so, having that book on hand before you get in the situation where you want to read that book, just making it really easily available to folks is, like, is key. And, no, the Communist Manifesto, I've gotten rid of a lot of those. Life of Frederick Douglass, Narrative of Life of Frederick Douglass, I've given away a lot of those.
Right.
There's some the autobiography of Malcolm X is another popular one that goes a lot.
The key to reading a book is to have the book in the first place. And if you don't have the book, you can't read it. And we're in an era where it's easier to turn your phone on and read a little blurb of something that somebody says and feel like you're an expert than it is to actually read the actual source material that it comes from.
Right.
Which is a bit harder. And I understand that, like, even for me, just State and Revolution, very small book, but I still had to be like, I don't feel ready for that. But
right.
But it makes it easier. You look at it enough every day, you're finally like, I'll read that. We'll check it out. And then once you read it, you get on fire to read other things. It's great. The beauty of reading books.
It's true. Well, yeah, and it pushes me, like, people do ask for recommendations, so it pushes me to, like, think about what can I recommend to who. And because I tried to kind of, like, you know, help them narrate what recommendation I'm giving to them, and it doesn't seem to work super well. Like, oh, what are you reading now, or what have you read in the past, or what are you interested, kind of like try to get some, but it doesn't really, so it kind of feels like I need to have like 2 or 3 or 4 different versions of things to give them depending on kind of where they tell me they're at or where they feel they're at, or something, I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like works that way at the shoe store I work at. We got a lot of shoes, but it's couple of versions of the same thing, but you need to show them before they finally like, oh yeah, I want that.
Right.
And people come in, they know they want something, but they don't know what they want exactly.
Right.
So you kind of have to drive that narrative as well. So people want to know about other ways of doing government or other ways that the world could be, but they're not sure. And they're coming from a place where they've been told the way they want it to be is wrong.
Right.
Right. And that's the other part is it's great to see them even there considering it in the first place, because they spend their whole time being told socialism or communism is the work of the devil, basically.
Right.
When really you're just trying to get people to get along and share the things that the world has made for you.
Right, exactly. No, it's true. And you were saying about having the books on your shelf, and yeah, that was also another thing, I guess, towards the end that was, I was trying to kind of reorganize my books, and I'm like, I can't even fit all these books that I have on these shelves.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I really, and you're attached. But it's like, I don't necessarily, I don't have the books just to look at, although I do, it is nice to have those books there, and you do like to look at them, and you like to have them around for when you do want to read them. But, you want to get the information that's in the books. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of where you're going. So I thought, well, why don't I let other people, get the information, and then they could potentially, share it back with me, or just, like, start putting it into practice, or whatever. So that was kind of when I let go, and I'm like, okay, I should be... so I do take books, directly from my own, collection that I had been kind of like pulling things together before and say, okay, this one's going to go out, and that gives me room to, put something else in there or whatever. And people, bring books back to the table sometimes, or donate books on the spot while I'm out with the table. But yeah, I think it's a great, and I've seen more. I saw somebody at the free scarves table. I don't know if I'm in the neighborhood over here when I was in a hurry. Otherwise, I would have stopped to talk with them. So I feel like, and then there was somebody out with buttons the other day at one of these events. They had like a whole like binder of different buttons, and they're like, I'm giving away free buttons. Do you like any of these? And they had like a bunch of different resist buttons, and I grabbed a resist button. So I mean, I think, and then the idea that it could like catch on and be kind of like counter to the capitalist system as we know it now is basically the idea.
We really need to push the idea that it's okay to help your neighbor, that we don't all have to be alone in this. Which we're seeing every day on TV as ICE comes through and tries to break up neighborhoods. But you'd think that'd be common knowledge. Like, deep down we would all know that. But it's really hard to get out of the norms that the your administration, that your government has made for you.
Right.
And you don't realize you're following that until you get in a situation where like you don't want to give out a book.
Right. You want to keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I know people read books twice, and I
Right.
always mean to read a book twice.
But it doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, it's never going to happen for me. I realize it. Like
I've read a handful of books twice. I could probably count it on one hand, and I'm not even sure. I think probably the Communist Manifesto,
yeah,
State and Revolution. I think I've read twice.
I'll probably read that one twice because it takes. You gotta let it sink in, and then.
I think I might have read The Hatchet by Gary Paulson twice when I was like 14 or 15 or something.
Sure.
And I think that's the full. I think that might be the full list.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, and it's we're putting our politics into action. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to say about the books table, or why you like it, or where it's going, or what you think about it, or?
Well, that's a really open-ended question.
I know, isn't it?
It
gives you all the options to say whatever you want. There's no framework here, buddy.
So many things that people. But I don't know. I mean, I just like the idea that we're doing what we say we're doing.
Right.
Right. We want people to share. We want people to share the wealth they have, so that everybody has the same amount of wealth, and that's what we're doing, which I think is great. I know it's small, but it's got to start somewhere. And it's easy to get bogged down with politics. It's easy to get bogged down with all the nuances and stuff, like who has what rights and everything else. But if you can try and simplify it into everybody deserves knowledge, everybody deserves food, and everybody deserves healthcare, and everybody deserves a place to stay,
right.
Some of the other things will fall into place. And those are the easiest places to start. So then we can have conversations about who gets what rights. But you can't have that until you have a stable place where everybody's kind of on a similar page.
Sure. No.
And this is where it starts. Giving away free books, mutual aid, helping people feed each other, and that sort of thing. So, and I don't know how to do healthcare. That's the hardest part. But
it's a hard one, yeah.
But the other one's a little bit easier. But I think it's great. I think the books table is awesome. Now I just gotta find more time to help out and branch off and get my own. Not my own, but like
right.
A division of the books table.
Opportunities, yeah. It's
to do it when you're not around, which is also tough because it's hard to find places where people are gathering.
Right. Yeah, you need the movement. Yeah, you need the movements or the events to like intervene in, and there's been some big events that just weren't as good for like intervening in some way or getting books out, or people didn't want books, and so like having the right conditions is also part of being able to do it. And so we're in this constant situation where if there's not enough of a movement going, well then maybe we need to participate more in the movement building, and then when there are the movements, then maybe we can focus more on getting the books out to people once there's the creation of a place where we can do that.
Right, and also, I want to say that the people we have to rely on is us,
mm-hmm.
and not the government, and not just our government,
and not a corporation or not anybody. Yeah.
Right. So, because I'm sure people are out there saying, "But we have a library, and we can go there."
No, it's true.
But they're losing funding all the time, and it's very easy. The government has gifted you the library,
right?
And they can very easily take that away, just
right.
like they did with abortion, immigration.
Right.
That was a gift, and now they took that away. So libraries are probably they're going to be there. So
right.
then we become the library in what we share, and that's very important not to let that die. And I know in the age of everything on computers, we think it's all going to be there, but it could be that. The free books table is all you can't see the thing I'm pointing at.
There's books though everywhere.
Yeah. The free books table might be the only place to get books. So we all need to be the free books table. Is I guess the point. And it's not easy, but it's not hard either at the same time. And it could start with just you giving a book to a friend and not expecting it back.
Exactly.
So anyway, I love the free books table. Can't wait tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna be out
tomorrow.
Except this probably won't be out by tomorrow. But the day after recording this, we will be out supporting our Somali neighbors at 301 Cedar Plaza at the Mayday Plaza there. But yeah, and And just a PSA, while your libraries are still there, support your local libraries.
Oh yeah. Libraries are great. And they perform more functions than just giving out books. They have programs, they have the internet, and they have places to go where people who can't afford these things can actually access the tools they need to live life how it is now.
And we should be supporting that. And that's our special interview. Thanks for tuning in. Solidarity.